Hi, my name is Lily, and this is my presentation for The Organic House by Javier Senosiain. It was built in Naucalpan de Juarez, Mexico. There is not an official starting date, but there are many resources that explain it took a little bit over 5 years to finish building, so I kind of inferred that the late 1980s is around the time it started, and then 1984 was the finalization of construction. So, a little bit about the architect. Javier is a Mexican architect, and he's very well known for his innovative use of characterizing natural forms, materials, and colors, blending the surrounding landscape. One of the quotes that I really liked was, according to Senosiain and Hart, organic architecture is not so much about copying nature, but trying to model the built environment after the way that natural systems produce and reproduce themselves. Senosian's design philosophy is heavily influenced by architects like himself, like Gaudi, Hundertwasser, and Frank Lloyd Wright, to promote harmony between human habitat and the natural world while addressing the vibrancy of Mexican art. It is also influenced by Mexican experimental modernists like Felix Candela and Juan O'Gorman. Some functions and purposes of the organic house was that it is a fully functional house that he originally built for him and his wife. One of the quotes that he uses is, it was based on the elemental functions required by man, a place to live and fellowship with others. A couple aspects of this house was the sustainability piece, as well as having privacy. And then for the symbolism piece, the design is meant to feel like entering some of the most sacred spaces of mankind. And then, kind of to coincide with the functions and purposes, we have the structural design, where the original idea was modeled after a peanut shell, and he created a passageway that connected between two different areas, one being a more private area that would mainly be used at night, and then the other being a more brighter and social area. The living room has a large eye curved window that helps protect against any dust, wind, sun, and rain. And then the exterior of the organic house, the grassy green roof, protects against the heat and cold, and it maintains the interior temperature. He also takes into consideration the impact of conditions on inhabitants physically and psychologically. So he uses trees and bushes to create a barrier that filters harsh sunlight and keeps the interior cool, as well as protects the house from dust and noise pollution. Then there's also cubby holes that are integrated into the structure that help provide storage, as well as the exterior trees, bushes, and flowers are used as a barrier for privacy. And then the south facing windows help capture the beauty of the garden. The materials that were used were ferro cement, clay, glass, and steel. The walls, ceilings, and built-in furnishings are made of ferro cement, and they're coated with a paste of marble powder and a white cement. Under my how, I kind of explain a little bit in depth of what they do to add a waterproofing exterior. And then the second paragraph kind of explains how they created that green grass exterior. Couple design issues and struggles were that continuity piece, where he was concerned about the floor, the wall, and the ceilings because they were made from disparate materials. He ended up sculpting a miniature model out of clay to help visualize his design. And after the organic house was created, one of the things was that it was very misunderstood. People didn't understand what he was doing and why he was doing it, or the message behind it. And a big part of what he was trying to showcase was the negative impact that has been had on environment. And nowadays I feel like we better understand this, because there is more political use in different conversations, and I feel like nowadays we're better understanding of the negative impacts. And then with relationship of context, he explains when we bought the land, the surroundings here are packed with houses. Already back in the 1980s, one had a glimpse of the disastrous mode of development that was taking place here. So the relationships with the context for me was tricky. To be contextual, if the context was crap, I had to build crap. But I figured that originally this site was green fields, so we tried to adapt to that original context. I was really into this idea of organic architecture, and I do think that in a way it's like Berrigan's work, constantly changing, thinking by doing, and living the processes, which is very important to me as well. And it's a process that has to be enjoyable. A couple interesting aspects that I found was that one of Javier's daughters, when she was in kindergarten, her teacher asked her to draw what her home looked like, and she ended up drawing the organic house, which was very weird structure. And so the teacher ended up calling her mother and the school psychologist, and they had to explain to her that her father was an architect. And then one of the quotes that I also do like is architecture feeds off the energy of the hills through interior, working within nature rather than around it. A couple different concepts that I liked were that the inspiration was off of a peanut shell, and also, the living room has a chair in the shape of a hand that was created by a Mexican artist that was one of his friends. Some impacts of the organic house was that he was able to increase his knowledge through years of research of bioarchitecture and freeform design, and as well as his concept was for people to kind of walk past it and then realize that they have walked past a structure. It was supposed to be something hidden in the environment and supposed to showcase the organic part of architecture. Some building connections that I found were that his home represented his thought process and principles of his trials and errors. I feel like this is pretty much known for a lot of different projects done by either engineers, architects, or just any profession. He has also become an expert in perspective on the evolution of environmental design. He also emphasizes a primitivism primitivism in his work, not being so elegant in his display, and kind of having a connection of turning artificial into more natural looking. And then he's also influenced by Frank Lloyd Wright, where I said he was kind of the Frank Lloyd Wright of nature. And then a little bit about my reflection. I kind of explained that I really liked how the exterior and the interior were looking, and I just found it very interesting and wanted to learn a little bit more about the functionality and kind of what inspired him, which I like that it was a peanut because you don't really think about it, and it kind of brings out a whole new creative level. Um, and I like that he also was thinking about he was keeping in mind the light, moisture, ventilation, and temperature, and not just creating something because he liked how it looked. And then also, I like that he researched different materials and created a vibrant and good organic looking structure. And then here are my text references, and that's it.